And we're back, part two. So yeah, so we have backstory on the Riddler and his upbringing and how he didn't come from privilege. He was an orphan and he went through the foster care system, and we see the breakdown of, I guess, his mental health, because he wasn't treated right in a number of these homes and he had to go without. But again, in the same sense, he was very brainy and knew how to defend himself, but intellectually. And if anything, that's we do have that very clear in the first half of the film, that perhaps the Riddler is enamored by the Batman because he feels like he's met his match intellectual wise, in comparison to all the other riffraff that he's come across, and he's gone on some killing spree. And we have moments of violence that are very similar to Batman movies in the past, like with Heath Ledger when he played Joker brilliantly. He did something of his own, and that's, I feel like, in its own category. And no shade here to Paul Dano. I've seen him in other films as well, Little Miss Sunshine, and he went escalating into different indie films. No shade there. Sorry, I'm kind of getting over a cold, but yeah, no shade there. He's he's phenomenal as the Riddler. I mean, I think he gives a very brilliant performance as somebody who's off kilter and is committing all these crimes because of, it's the nature versus nurture, and philosophical perspective here. And since he was met with so much hate, then that's what he feeds off of and regurgitates to the society. And when he finally is caught, and the funny thing here is that he's caught brilliantly, because even the Penguin kind of gave them not that he knew of his whereabouts or even had a clue of who the Penguin or who the Riddler was. They weren't in cahoots, I don't think. But the Penguin here is played brilliantly by Colin Farrell. Sorry, Colin Farrell. And he's always been known to do like great accents, but he does his makeup. Kudos to the makeup team here. They did a great job in like, he's unrecognizable. Like, he really looks like some mafioso. And then again, the little pun here of the iceberg, lounge, which goes brilliantly with his character and whatnot. But I will say that the cartoon aspect of it is kind of gone, here. So, I don't know. So I'm kind of perplexed here. Okay, we got it together. Sorry, I'm going through a cold, so you will forgive me what I don't do for you viewers. And for my kooky self. Anyway, so the cartoon element is kind of pushed out. Yes, we're not going to get a duplicate of Danny DeVito's Penguin. We're not going to get a duplicate of Michael Keaton's Batman. We're not going to get a duplicate of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. But when you compare the two, they're two different animals. Yes, they are bringing two different perspectives. And perhaps, again, life wasn't so menacing, perhaps, in that decade that Tim Burton did it. But then again, I think it was. It's just as chaotic when it comes to politics and crime in the city. But I want to say it wasn't the what's the word? The oversaturation of media that is constantly pushed to us because of these social apps. Now it's a constant that we can't even escape. And even in art, which again, I get it, you know, through art, I love art because you learn so much through art. But I think sometimes, I'm not saying it's influential or it's gonna promote. It just felt so close to home. We just went through what we went through with the last administration. You know, what happened on January 6th is still under investigation. And then seeing something like this that kind of falls in the same category of like wackadoodles and people who believe conspiracy theories and people who don't can't or don't have the ability to socially interact with others, and the toxic personality that they become and how they treat others. I don't know. Again, you could say the same thing in terms of like the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, but perhaps maybe then it was just a source of entertainment. But this felt too close to home. And again, I was saying before, before I started getting all choked up, no shade to Paul Dano. There were instances that I will say, and maybe it was just me that I clocked it, but even when he gets caught he's finally met with the person he's been wanting to desperately meet, the Batman. He is in this like interrogation room, and you know, now we demystified him because they took off the sex mask, which I think honestly was a little bit too much, you know, too reminiscent of like things that we've been seeing and other parts of the country. It's just, anyway, and he thinks that Batman's on his side and that, you know, what's going to happen, his final, his final act that's going to like, you know, go off like gangbusters. He's met with the fact that Batman just lets it be known, like, no, I'm not on the same page with you. You're just a complete whack job. And so, you know, you're in here for a reason and you should just rot here. And that reaction, that instant reaction of like, I've been duped. I thought you were on my side. And you can see like now his whole perspective is like shattering all around him. And he has this moment of like psychosis, I think. And he's kind of like, no, no. Very reminiscent of like Primal Fear. Like I thought of Edward Norton and Richard Gere when he was kind of put, and it's not the same case. We're not talking about the same kind of crime, but that realization that, you know, I guess the ball is not necessarily in your court, or you're being faced with reality, and that reactionary kind of way of behaving felt very reminiscent of Primal Fear, which is another film that I really recommend y'all watch if you haven't seen it. I forget what year it was made. 1996. Young Edward Norton. A salt and pepper kind of Richard Gere. I highly recommend it. And he really showed off his acting chops in that film. Really, really something. But I got the same kind of feels when I saw him, Paul Dano, do that same kind of reaction for this movie. So, yeah, there was those elements. I like Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, and I like Andy Serkis, which I guess he's known from the Lord of the Rings and whatnot. And even in Black Panther, right? He played a villain in Black Panther, but here he plays Alfred. He plays the butler, Alfred Pennyworth, which not for nothing. I think also they're right. There's a series of a young Alfred also on HBO Max, which I'm curious to check out. But and it does not include this actor of Andy, but because obviously it's a young a young actor doing the same character, but nonetheless, I mean, I had its moments. I really feel like it picked up in the end. Towards the end, it got really more action packed, and I felt like, okay, oh, all right, okay, this makes sense. But I think it was a little too long, and it hit too close to home, especially when it came to the politicians and even the threat of losing a politician. How Gotham City really is near mirror to New York City, and even when the elections goes down, like really goes down at Madison Square Garden or Gotham Square Garden, it's too much. I don't know. It was too much. It was too overwhelming. I didn't get a payoff towards the end. You know, that whole cat and mouse thing between Batman and Catwoman. I don't know. I think they do leave the door open of perhaps them coming back. And in fact, I think somebody confirmed that, yeah, they're probably working on another one with these same actors. So I don't know what other villainous characters they're thinking of bringing back. And I think we're left on a cliffhanger when it comes to the Riddler and possibly getting along with the Joker. I think, but I don't know which it's obviously not Heath, but I don't think it's Joaquin. And honestly, Joaquin bodied that. If you haven't seen Joker, please see Joker. That's another film I do recommend. It's dark, but and yes, that one's close to life, but I don't know, something about it. I don't know if it was just what Joaquin brought to the character, or it's point of view of sympathy. I don't know. It's something much more captivating, and it's a lot more brutal. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're equally violent, but I don't know. I was more enthralled and entertained when it came to the Joker. And this movie just kind of fell a little flat. Like, I think somewhere in the middle, like I mentioned with other shows and movies, I feel like sometimes if you just trim it, I think it would make for a more better movie experience. So, again, just my opinion. Let me know. Have you guys watched The Batman? What did you guys think? Did you enjoy watching it? Almost 3 hours of hell. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, if you didn't like, what didn't you like? And please leave us a comment down below so that way we can have a conversation and perhaps be on the same page or not. And again, we might differ here. But nonetheless, I'm curious to check out a number of other films that are making its debut, also series. The White Lotus is back on HBO Max, y'all. I'm looking forward to that. And The Crown just dropped Wednesday. The Netflix series of Wednesday, and also Christmas Story is the sequel. After all these decades, Lord of waiting, we finally get a sequel. So stay tuned for all that. I'm gonna try to pump out as many reviews as I possibly can. Let me know. Did you like my Dollar Tree trinkets? Do I look like a believable Riddler? I had to take off my bow. It was a little too tight, but I think I did a decent job. I may even come back as Eartha Kitt and come dressed as that Catwoman. I loved my costume this year. And I'm on Instagram, so you can follow me there as well. And you can see what my costume looked like this year. I was very proud of it. I had a holster and everything. Because the 1966 Catwoman did have a lion tiger-esque gun. So it wasn't the whip like Michelle Pfeiffer, but anyway, so stay tuned for those impending reviews. And if you like what you see, give us a like, give us a share, leave us a comment down below. If you want to follow my reviews, my videos here on YouTube, hit the subscription button and the notification bell so you can be notified of my next upload, my next DIY, my next haul, because I love the Dollar Tree, and my next TV and movie review. And let's play this out, y'all. And the OG Riddler, I think he did have an umbrella, so I had a purple umbrella. I think it matches, y'all. It goes well. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let me know, y'all, in the comment section below. You digging it? The 1966 version. All right, y'all. Till next time. Till next time. XOXO, Nerdy Girl.